What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm here with Pedro. This week, we're going to dive into Netflix's The Rip with Matt Damon and what's Ben
Ben
Affleck.
Affleck, the two buddies.
And we're going to go into A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the new Game of Thrones spin-off show that just premiered on HBO this past weekend. I also went to the movies 3 times.
Damn, 3 times in January.
Since Thursday.
Man, that's a record. It's got to be a record, man.
3 times in 3 days. I went to see Marty Supreme Friday night. I went to see Marty Supreme Thursday night. And then I took Friday off, so I went to see The Bone Temple. I caught the matinee. And then Saturday, my wife wanted to go see The Secret Agent at Lincoln Film Center. That was phenomenal. So
yeah,
I saw a lot of stuff.
That's on my to-watch list.
I recommend it. We got there late and we had just terrible seats. We were sitting like second row all the way to the left. I don't know if you've had that experience before.
Damn, there was that much demand.
Well, it doesn't, because it's a smaller theater and
At Lincoln
they don't have a ton of showings. Yeah, they don't have a ton of showings.
And on a Saturday.
Right. So we took the whole front row was available, but we took the last 2 seats possible outside of that, it was fine. It takes the first 15 minutes is an adjustment, but then you settle in and that's just your picture. It's just long ass horizontal image. That's what
was
it looks
like. Was it the 2-seater, or you were just at the end of the row, or was it those 2-seater where it's just a pair of seats?
No,
all the way on one side.
Even those were taken.
Those are kind of cozy, man. I don't mind those. As long as you're high up and don't have to stretch your neck all the way to the right.
Yeah. It wasn't.
That happened to me during a movie one time, and I just I had a sore neck after that.
Did I see Interstellar with you like that? I don't know if that was with you or another one of our buddies at the time. We were walking around. This was on the Union Square, at the Union Square Theater, and we were walking around blazing right before going into the show, and the thing got sold out or packed, and we're sitting in the front all the way to the right to watch Interstellar.
Man, I don't remember who I watched that movie with, but I must have definitely watched that in the movie theaters.
At that point,
but I don't remember. I don't remember. I mean, I do remember watching movies at Union Square with you. That's definitely, we've seen a couple over there.
Yeah, that used to be our go-to spot. Let me just give you my thoughts on all 3 real quick. Marty Supreme is excellent. It's a little bit, people compare it to Uncut Gems just because it has that kind of nervous energy and high intensity that never stops. So you never get a moment to pause and just be okay, reset with the characters. It's really good, really well acted, great soundtrack. And super interesting cast. They cast a bunch of really interesting people, non-traditional actors in the movie. Bone Temple.
So that's a running theme with the Safdies, right? They just have
Is it?
They'll have a random hip hop artist. So. They'll have a basketball player come out of nowhere, just
You know who's in the movie?
Regular street cats just showing up.
I don't know if you remember this homeless dude from 15 years ago. He was the guy with the golden voice. He had a voice for radio. Somebody just found him on the side of the road asking for money, and he had this incredible voice. Anyway, he's in it. He's in 2 scenes.
This guy a viral superstar or something?
He's one of the first viral videos from 15 years ago. He did, after that video went viral, he was on the morning show and all the mainstream.
You're not talking about Tayson Day, right?
No, I don't know who that one is.
Look him up, Tayson Day.
I'll check him out.
You'll remember when you see him.
How do you even spell Tayson?
I don't know, but I just remember singing some
Oh, I know this kid. Okay. Yeah,
what was he singing?
Tayson Day.
Purple Rain or something?
Yeah, he was singing Marvin Gaye or something like that.
It wasn't him?
No, it wasn't him. It was Ted Williams. Anyway, Google Ted Williams.
You gotta get Tayson Day on the show one day, man.
What happened to Tayson Day, yo?
I don't know. What's he up to nowadays, man?
His name is Tayson Day. I thought it was Tayson Day.
Nah, Tayson Day. It's a great name, bro.
It's a great name.
That's a great name to have on a soccer jersey in the back.
Tayson Day, yeah.
Tayson Day #1.
I also saw the Bone Temple. I got a 1 o'clock screening on a Friday, which was great because most of the theater was empty. This movie is like rated R, hard R on this movie, harder than the first movie, more gorier than the first movie, more like a horror thriller. Highly recommended. This movie's fucking fire. Ray Fiennes is one of the leads now. I guess the lead role is a little bit split. There's not like one main character you're following throughout the film. It's just like a couple of different scenarios colliding ultimately. But it was really, really good. I'm trying to
How's it doing? I heard it. I heard from a friend that it wasn't doing well in the box office this weekend, but I never checked to confirm that.
yeah,
You're
I don't
saying your
know.
showing was empty on
Well, it was Friday at 1 o'clock, you know? So
in January.
I didn't expect it to like
In January, like during a snowstorm. Well, not a snowstorm, but it did snow this weekend over there.
yeah, they saying 15 million soft
Ooh,
opening. So not
soft, yeah,
great.
soft.
Is still competing with Avatar, who's hitting like 1.3 billion,
That movie's out?
and Zootopia. What do you mean that movie's out?
Still out?
It's still out. So let me see. What did it? The Bone Table came in behind expectations. That's not good. Won the 4-day session. Bone Temple made 15 million. Yeah, they already greenlit the next 28 years later film, so that's happening anyway, regardless of how this one performs. But I think this trilogy, if they can land the third one, it's gonna go down as like one of the all-time like cult classic bangers. This movie's phenomenal, so I highly recommend it. If you watch the first one, because it is a direct continuation, we're in that exact same place. The homie Spike is still in it, and Ray Fiennes is still in it, as well as Samsung. He's still in it, and then the ending kind of kicks us right off into the third one, which is again direct continuation of the Bone Temple.
So
You didn't like the first one.
how would you get someone like me that didn't like the first one? What would you tell us to go out and watch this one?
Well, the challenge is that this is a direct continuation, but if you didn't like the first one, this one is also a completely different movie. So the first one was about a family, a son and a mother's journey, and the conflict with the dad and trying to escape from that. This one is completely different. It has none of that emotional weight to any of the story. It's really about the gang, the Jimmies that we see at the very end of the first one, who now took in Spike as part of their gang, and they go around and they really terrorize people on a darker level. It's less. This one is less about confronting the zombies and more about this group of Jimmies and the chaos that they're wreaking on the land now.
So they're terrorizing non-infected people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're terrorizing anybody that they see. Essentially, they're extremely dangerous and violent. Damn, this guy Zaytante, he's my age.
Yeah, he was.
I
Yeah,
still
he
got
was.
his page up.
Yeah, nah, that dude was like, I don't know, he was really young. He was like probably like 16, 17 when he broke out on the internet in the early 2000s.
Yeah, he broke out. He broke out
Probably
in
like '06 or
'06.
something. Yeah, '06.
Yeah.
About that time.
Okay. I thought he was a kid because he looks very young.
Yeah, how are people like sharing that? How were people watching that video? Because that was before
That
Facebook and all that stuff.
the one that
Oh yeah, it was it was when the viral videos were on YouTube before they were on social media.
yeah, and then it probably ended up on like Ellen or something like that. One of those TV shows. And then yeah, I went to see The Secret Agent, which is the Brazilian movie that's up for international Best Picture. I don't know if he'll get nominated for Best Picture, but um that's really good too. Did you watch I'm Still Here, last year's Brazilian movie that won a bunch of awards?
No, but what is Secret Agent about? Do you want to just
Secret
give a quick?
Yeah, it's so Secret Agent is about it takes place in that same era of authoritarianism, Brazil, and dictatorship. Um,
It's like the
yeah, yeah, it's the 70s. And it's about this guy who is on the run from not only the state, but this large business owner who basically wants him dead. And then during the movie, he explains what that conflict, where that conflict came from. But this business guy just sort of escalates it and hires two hitmen to go find and kill the main character. So the story is about like, he gets placed with these group of refugees, and then it's all sort of like underground kind of spy games. They put him up at this job. He's trying to find out. He's trying to look for records of his mother so he can like. Uh, I think he's trying to prove to this. I don't know. He's trying to prove something to the state. We showed up 20 minutes late, so we didn't get we didn't get like the whole
Yeah, I didn't.
the entire setup.
I've only like I didn't know. I don't know what the movie's exactly about. I want to see it because it looks like the screenshots I've seen of it. It looks like it was beautifully shot, and then
Hmm.
I'm always interested in like that era and like that topic of like Latin America was going through a bunch of like dictatorships and like a lot of like regime changes and stuff. So it's always interesting.
I
So
would.
I wanted to just watch it like on a blind note. No.
It's cool because during that era, like the movie Jaws came out, so Jaws plays a big role. The movie itself plays a big role in not the direct plot, in many ways the direct plot of the film, but because it takes place in like a beach town in Brazil that had a lot of shark attacks at the time. The movie Jaws is very present throughout. So the movie's kind of dark, but it's also kind of funny. It's almost satirical, and then suddenly it can be extremely violent and explosive. I would recommend it. It's a pretty serious movie, and it has, to your point about like cinematography, it has a lot of yellows and light pastel colors
Yeah,
because it really brings that Brazilian kind of
it's got that
old
look.
vintage Brazil to life. It's like,
Super warm,
yeah,
like
it's like a
chrome,
cozy hang, and I would
Kodak chrome.
recommend I'm Still Here. It takes place exactly around the same era. It's a little bit darker than this one. It deals directly with the regime and people who the regime is targeting. So I recommend that one as well. That one's based on a true story. This one, I'm not sure it's based on a true story. It might be. So that was my weekend run. In between that, I saw The Rip. I don't even know when I saw that. I think I saw that in two parts.
That came out, that released Friday, and I was on top of it. I know I let everyone know, like, hey, this movie comes out this weekend. Check it
Yeah, but you
out.
didn't like it. You said you didn't like The Rip. Well, you said I'm 5 minutes in. I don't like this movie. Something like that.
Yeah, I'm not holding it up too highly. I had some things I liked, some things I didn't. A lot of things, more things I didn't like than that I liked.
Okay. And so The Rip is a Netflix movie. It came out on January 16. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Steve Ewan, Tiana Taylor, a couple of other folks. Who's the homie that plays the DEA guy? Oh, Kyle Chandler. And it's basically about like these this group of police who get a tip, like a tip about a stash house, and then they go investigate the stash house. Basically, that's it, right?
Yeah, and they're specifically the tactical narcotics team, the TNT team. So they like specialize in
Right.
bringing down like high level like crime, drug crimes and stuff. And then I guess what makes the movie unique is they go in, they get this tip, they go into this house searching for drugs or drug money, and everyone
Cash, yeah.
every cop on this team is like shady, is shifty, the way they've been presented like from the start of the movie. They're kind of like all off a little. None of them look like straight edge, like you know legit cops, and you're just
You know who they
presented with.
remind me of? When they roll up on the house, this house is like in a cul-de-sac, kind of like where
Yeah,
Carol from Pluribus lives. Exactly like that, actually. They
yeah,
roll up, each one of them in their own vehicle, but it's also there's no two vehicles that are alike. They roll
yeah,
up like a mix of the Power Rangers and the Fast and Furious crew.
yeah.
Like, they do not look like police
They all
whatsoever.
have like shiny cars, like vintage cars, all like dark colored, chromed out. That was one of my gripes with the movie, that they just looked like a group of criminals instead of like a group of cops,
Yeah.
you
Or
know,
they
and
look
they're
like what a kid's fantasy of a cop might look like,
yeah.
like,
And
it
it's
was
like, yeah,
silly.
like, yeah, they're the tactical narcotics team, they're like a special team or whatever, but it was just a little too exaggerated. The look of everyone looked, it just wasn't very believable to me that like all everyone, like maybe if one or two of the cops were like that, but like all of them,
I think if these guys showed up at your door with a warrant, you would call the cops
yeah,
on them.
yeah, you
You
would think
you
they're
would
yeah, you would think they're like a group of criminals posing as cops.
yeah, these are not. So, I agree, I thought that was weird too, just the way they carry themselves. It's just bad police, and maybe it's because they're part of the TNT, technical narcotics and what? Terrorism?
Tactical narcotics team.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if that's even, like, a made up team.
No, it's
Um,
legit. It's legit. It's a legit team of detectives, and it's also based on a true story. I didn't know that until after watching the movie and reading up a little bit about it.
I gotta see a photo of that crew, though.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't look anything like this, and I'm sure they don't have cars like that.
So they get
But
to
yeah,
this.
It's interesting that it's based on a true story, and I think it's interesting the way it's just like the movie was presented. It wasn't just like a straight up action movie. It had like some psychological like who done it to it. Um,
Yeah, that
so
carried
I think
the
that
vibe of
definitely
the
worked for
movie, I
it. Yeah,
think.
I think that worked for it.
I think most of the movie for me works, even though like there are a couple of silly scenes like that. But after they go to this woman's house, they have this warrant. They basically go in and they find 20 million in cash hidden in like an attic that's also like a pristine church for some reason. They never really explain that. And the woman in the house just says, I don't know who's this is my grandmother's house. I just moved in or something.
Yeah, so from then you're like, okay, is this person telling the truth? Does she like looks and sounds innocent? Does she really not know what's going on? Is she really ignorant to it? Is she trying to, you know, play off the cops? But then you're like, why would she let the cops in the first place if she knew what was going on?
Right.
So it's always like it kept me second guessing with everything that unfolded in the story. I just think some of the things came off. Like I couldn't shake from the beginning of the movie. Like I thought it was trying to be like Training Day.
Okay.
That
Interesting.
that and that's what kept annoying me. Like even like it takes like the scenery. I know it wasn't in Los Angeles or anything, but like the scenery, the house at the end, the block, and like it reminded me of that, and it reminded me of this other movie called End of Watch.
Yeah, this was like
It's like a
this
combination of both of them.
should have been what the end of like these cops should have looked like those end of watch cops. Those were
Yeah,
believable cops.
yeah. They should have just ended up like in like a crazy shootout and stuff.
Yeah, which they
Um,
did, but it was 5 seconds. The house gets shot up, but it's like 5 seconds,
yeah.
and then they just go outside. And mind you, there's no cover. This is wide open. So the house gets shot up by multiple machine guns. These things got
Whole
scopes.
neighborhood like in a gunfight
Yeah.
on this street out in the open, and then all of a sudden it stops, and then they just walk up to one of the guys that was shooting on the porch, or like just on the porch, and it turns out he's a cartel member, and he's gonna
Well,
go
hold on.
call his cartel boss.
Yo,
just,
hold
just
on,
puts
hold on, hold
he
on.
just puts them on a FaceTime call with the cartel boss.
Yo, I don't know.
That was ridiculous, man.
These guys, the house gets shot up. One girl gets a flesh wound to the thigh. Nothing serious, so she's fine. They go
And that
outside.
that that I just gotta point out that looked so fake, like the blood pouring out of the leg.
You saw
It
it
is
for
like
like 2 seconds.
it was only 2 seconds, but the blood was bright red. I'm like, damn, they couldn't even get like real looking blood.
But then, like Matt Damon, who's the lieutenant, the leader of this team, he and another guy go outside. Mike, I think his name is. Just like no cover, nothing. it's an open neighborhood. They're in the middle of the street under the fog of night. And I'm like, dude, take some cover. And then they see someone, they start running through the neighborhood. Eventually the bad guys get away, but then that's what happens. Ben Affleck shows up from one of the houses with a cartel guy, like cartel head to toe. He had bulletproof vest, he had the AK on him.
Yeah, he's like, don't worry, this guy was on the porch talking to us.
Yeah, he's like, "Is he a witness?" And he did like the cart. Yeah, and then they get a FaceTime with the cartel boss just to be like, "We didn't do it." Basically, that whole scene was just to like get the cartel, remove the cartel from the situation. But it was so
Yeah,
silly.
just to like that's one less person in the who done it list.
Yeah,
But that scene was chaotic and all over the place, man. It really didn't make sense to me. It felt like it could have been done better.
that could have been done way better. And also, like, then you're like, well, who shot up the place? Is there like another cartel? And I don't know. I guess we can spoil the movie.
So that's where it gets interesting. And then obviously, they reveal at the end who it was that was sent over there to shoot up the place.
But how did that even happen logistically? So the guys who shot up the place was the DEA agent and his team. Oh no, it was the two police officers that showed up earlier. That's who it was,
The
right?
corrupt DEA agent at the end,
And and
played
the
by your boy that you
Kyle
mentioned earlier,
Chandler.
Kyle Chandler. Yeah, it
Him
was
and his two corrupt
he
local
sent a
police.
team over there to shoot up the place.
I thought all that was apart from like those silly little things, I was still like, this is a pretty cool movie. The other dumb thing, there's a scene where Ben Affleck's on the phone and he's just like surrounded by fog. And I'm like, where is this guy? Where is he? Is he in the house? Is he outside? Is he in a different house? Like, it's just fogness everywhere. Little silly things like that. But I thought the movie was pretty good. I wouldn't rewatch it because there's no depth here at all. Maybe you rewatch it to solve, and maybe there's like some clues. But even the clues, they just tell you what they were anyway at the end,
Yeah,
so
they
it's not
just tell
really
you
worth
step
rewatching.
by step everything that you
Yeah.
may have missed. Where were the bodies from that shootout?
What do you mean?
Where'd the bodies end up? Some people got killed, didn't they?
I think, yeah, Matt Damon said he got one, right? He got
That's what I'm saying. Where are the
the roof
bodies? There
guy.
should have been bodies all over the ground.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really get that. Like
Um,
from a time perspective and everything, like it didn't quite work logistically.
I think it was my guess is when this happens, you're like halfway through the movie or something, and they needed like action and shooting because they were just at this house going back and forth with this person in the house looking for the money or the drugs, and like there wasn't much action.
It wasn't, but there was a lot of good tension. And that's when like the distrust and everything starts coming up and you see the different relationships kind of devolve a little bit. I think I like that whole part of it. Like there's a big confrontation with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's characters because they don't trust one another and it's like you want to count the money but you don't want to call the captain. All of these decisions and all of these beefs start brewing up and Matt Damon starts laying down some traps.
Yeah, I think that was all good. The whole,
That was
like I
good.
said, the whole psychological element to it, the whole like trying to solve who's behind this, who's corrupt or not, who's trying to take
Yeah.
money or not. I thought the twist was great. The whole movie they led us to believe that Matt Damon is over here trying to rip the stash and take some for himself, and telling like some of the other people like you get this share, I get this share, and then they
Mhm.
presented all his like personal issues. Like he has
His son
medical,
died.
yeah, he has
Yeah,
medical debt.
they're all broke for some reason. Like every cop's excuse to steal the money is like, man, I can't on this salary, I can't
I
afford
take
my
80K home at the end of
yeah.
the year. Um,
You gonna pay my child support?
yeah, so they did a good job in like pointing you towards focusing on him as being corrupt and everything.
I believed it. I believed because and I should have known better
Yeah,
because it's
because
like
there was
Matt Damon's
nothing.
not gonna do that. He's still
Yeah,
Matt Damon.
he's only ever played a bad guy in like Interstellar, I think. I don't
Wasn't he
remember
good
him.
in that?
Nah, he was evil, man.
He was?
He
He
was
was
stuck
also
on the ice
even
planet. He was stuck on the ice planet and tried to replace himself with Matthew McConaughey's character.
oh, that's right, yeah. He was
But yeah, there
also
was no reason to believe that they weren't just telling you a linear, straight up story up until the point that they revealed the twist. So you're going along with it, like, yeah, it's Matt Damon. And even JD, Ben Affleck's character, was throwing the blame on him.
Yeah.
Um,
For a
he's like,
moment,
yeah,
I might
yeah, and he
I
was
was like
accusing him of killing the
his girlfriend,
detective at the
the
beginning of the movie that was involved
captain.
with JD. What'd you
Yeah.
think about that whole thing? Her character starting the movie off like that, getting killed off right away,
Yeah, I thought it was
and then
interesting.
you never see her again. You just hear about her. Like, I thought it added some confusion to the
It
plot.
did.
Like, it just confused me more than anything, and I thought it was a terrible way to start the movie. And I just, I don't, I think killing a character off in the opening scene is never turns out to be good in a movie.
I think so here that became like the driving force, right? Because after she's killed, we see both JD and Dane. I think that's Matt Damon's character getting investigated, like, and the FBI is saying it looks like the killer is like somebody on your team, on the task force. So
Hmm.
Matt Damon spends the whole rest of the movie trying to like smoke out the rat, basically. That's why he doesn't call the captain. That's why he wants to count the money there where they are and not sort of leave because he needs time to like smoke out the rat essentially. And ultimately he does in the third act.
But it was kind of like like it just came about. Smoking out the rat just kind of came about from what's happening in the stash house.
Yeah,
It
it was
wasn't.
kind of buried.
It
Yeah.
didn't lead the story. Her death didn't lead the story. It was kind of like a side story.
It was, but all of Matt Damon's decisions were related to her death in terms of like figuring out. Well, I guess maybe not even because let me think. So the tip that he got, that was actually a tip that he got from her, right? The cop that was killed.
Yeah,
That was the last thing she sent was
she
his
was
message.
sent him a text right before she was shot and killed,
Right.
letting him know where the stash house was.
Yeah. And then like how did Stephen Ewan's character and Kyle Chandler's character how did they well, they got smoked out from the stash house, but didn't really get smoked out from being her killers.
Yeah, but I
So,
think the whole reason that he brought the team I think what you're trying to say is the whole reason he brought that team to that house, claiming it was a tip, was to see who was related to her death and how that would unfold when they're at the place that she last told him to go to.
yeah.
You know,
So
because
going
he knew Stash House was related to her death. So if he brings the whole team, that someone in there is the rat from, they're gonna reveal themselves.
going into the stash house, he told everybody a different number in terms of the amount of cash that would be in said
Mhm.
stash house. Once that number came to light, he realized that person is the rat,
Yeah,
basically identifying themselves.
because
What did
uh, the people who supposedly the Stash House belonged to, called them while they were there doing the raid at the house, saying, "You got 30 minutes to leave our money alone, or we're gonna go in there and kill everybody. We know there's 150.
yeah, take the
We know the tip.
150.
We
Yeah.
know the tip was 150 or whatever, and that was the
Um
fake number he gave. And if it wasn't from Stephen Ewan's character, like you said, Mike, his name was Mike, Detective Mike Rowe. If it wasn't for him, it would have never led up to the DEA agent who was the mastermind behind all this corruption.
right. One thing I noticed, like, as we get into the third act, the two female characters, they're basically just counting money the whole movie.
They just
They
become
don't
less
really do
important, less
anything.
important. Yeah.
Right? They do
Yeah,
nothing.
it must have been to just like feature a diverse cast of detectives. And
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, one of the female detectives, like all she did was count money and say she
both
needed
of
it.
them.
The other one, Tiana Taylor's character, was just there. I didn't see her do anything at all. She's just there.
Yeah, they kind of they all go into this house, but then yeah, the women character kind of gets sidelined into the count the stash roles while everybody else has like little,
Yeah.
you know,
And to make things
bigger
worse,
bigger roles.
I was reading. There's a Forbes article talking about the true story, and I'm reading that the person in the real like story, in the real life cop that was counting the money. They like actually had a cop sit there and count the money. It was a guy, like an old guy. It wasn't even a female. So
Oh,
they must have just
well, because
like,
they probably had like zero females on that
yeah,
site.
yeah. They
But
must have
no,
just.
I don't. It's not an issue with
I
the
think they were
casting.
just trying to cast a lot of people to like make the movie seem bigger than it is. Like, oh,
Yeah, yeah,
look at all
100%.
the stars we got on here.
And also, like, it helps confuse the audience in terms of who could be it because they're all kind of somewhat famous. Like Tiana Taylor just won a Golden Globe. Everybody knows Steve Ewan. So if they're all famous enough to be like, oh, maybe it's them. If you have just two generic white dudes, it's like it, it makes the mystery a little bit easier to solve. What did you think of the third act? So this turns into like a video game co-op where like Matt Damon goes after one boss
Yeah,
and Ben Affleck goes goes after the other boss, and it just cuts back and forth.
yeah. I mean, I think they gave us a good action, a lot of action to end it with. I thought most of it was unbelievable. The chase, like
Bro, the whole
running him off the bridge, and like,
and he lived.
yeah,
He lived to talk shit.
there was a lot of stuff where people are like, they do something that would have normally killed anyone in any movie, and then they just go up to them and they're alive. Like that was one of them in the beginning, the first scene, where what's her name, Detective Desi, the one that
That gets
right, it was
killed.
Desi, right? Yeah,
Jackie.
Jackie. When she's being chased by those two masked gunmen that we don't know who it is, when they finally get her, they point blank range use a shotgun on her that like blows her,
Into
literally
like the
lifts her
water.
and blows her from like wherever the curb is towards like the shore. And then they just walk up to her and they're talking to her. She's still alive. Like, how do you get,
She's still sending a text.
you would have been missing like half your body if you got shot that close from a shotgun, man. You would have had your head
Yeah,
would
you
have
would have
been
been
blown up.
dead.
You had a T-1000 size hole in your chest. Instead, there's like no blood, and she's sending the text.
And she flew like a good 10 feet.
Yeah, that was.
I didn't
Yeah,
mind
I
the
think the
only.
third act was cool. I think they wrapped it up really well.
I thought the Matt Damon fight was just like two silhouettes in the dark. I didn't know who that could have been anybody up until like the fight was over and he's like, I don't know, they're talking it through and he makes the arrest. I thought it was
Yeah,
a decent fight, but again, like it was just two silhouettes the whole time. I guess Matt
yeah, that
Damon
was
didn't want to get wet. I don't know.
the best part of the most tension, and to me the best part was right before that. The like
In
when
the
they're riding in
truck.
the back of the armored truck and
That
they're
was great because you still
confronting
don't know
everyone.
who's who.
Yeah, they're still confronting everyone, and it's like, all right, all these guys are face to face. It's one of them. They're telling you like how the detectives are telling them how they taught. They're revealing the plot, like
Yeah.
they did. I thought that was the best part of the movie.
Yeah, that was good. You knew Kyle Chandler was gonna be the bad guy because why else is he in this movie?
They all looked suspicious, but he looked a little more suspicious than everyone else. He
Yeah,
just looked a little more.
for a moment I thought it was gonna be him and Ben Affleck's character like
Yeah.
doing something. But
A lot,
yeah, it's a good movie.
looking back at, you know, like I said, I don't like characters getting killed off on the opening scenes. It was weird to have that like random shootout in the middle of the movie on the street. But looking back at it and thinking about the recent interview that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck did, where they were talking about, you sent the clip, it was shared on X.
Yeah, they're
But I like
talking about
I
like
read like the I think I
AI.
saw the clip, but I also read the I read like the transcript of it. But I guess that ties into what Matt Damon was saying in this recent interview about,
Starting off with a big action
yeah,
scene.
how they just, Netflix sometimes even demands it from their directors and their writers that, algorithm shows this, people's viewers attention spans only last a little bit. You got to suck them in at the beginning. You
Yeah.
got to like do this big like reveal. You literally got to show the ending of the movie at the beginning of the movie, and then work your way back and like, oh, how did the superhero get to this cliff that he's hanging off from dear
Yeah.
life? And after hearing that, and after having watched the movie, I can see how like a lot of those elements were put into this to fit like the Netflix production, algorithm type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I
A
don't
lot of big names up front,
yeah,
somewhat
but
weak plot, but like put certain things at certain points in the movie to keep the viewer coming back.
I think so they made that point, but I think Ben Affleck also made the point like, well, adolescents didn't do that. That's a Netflix show. They didn't do anything like that. They have long scenes when nobody's talking and people are just reacting. So I don't think that's like a global note by Netflix executives that you need to start with an explosion and constantly explain the plot to people who are looking at their phones. But I think there are some projects that are like, once these things get reviewed by an executive, they're like, hey, like the audience that you're going for is going to need a little bit more hand holding here. So one thing that we do is just like reiterate the plot, just tell everybody where we are and why we're here again. But I don't think you need that for every show. I think a lot of the
Yeah,
shows that we talk about are not part of that model. Like
yeah,
Pluribus will bore people to death. It's the most popular show in the country.
yeah.
So
And it's got to be on a case by case basis.
exactly.
Like The Rip is like an action movie with a lot of big names that's going to be front and center
Yes.
uh, on that week's release on the Netflix page. You're going to need hand holding. You're going to need to dumb it down a bit. Adolescence, like that's something that it's the complete opposite. It's for a smart audience. Probably didn't even do great here in the States, I'm sure. Like it's hard to even find on my Netflix queue or show up. It was more of like a British centered release.
Yeah, but
It's
these
just a little.
shows, no, I think like I don't think Netflix is like this is our model for everything. I think if they see like they have a lot of people who are just as excited about TVs and shows that are constantly fighting for things, right? Like I've worked for a lot of organizations and been a part of every creative team. So like a lot of these decisions are made in conference rooms or meetings where people are pitted against each other to put the best idea forward or fighting for a certain idea. So I don't think this is a global model that they put on everything. I think some people approach them and they're like, I'm producing this and I think this is going to be great. And they just take it and they have somebody in there that believes in it and they just take it and put it out. Like Adolescence was one of those shows. It was their biggest hit last year, probably, or one of their biggest hits. Won a ton of awards. And I'm there's no doubt they're very happy with it. Another show, Department Q, that I reviewed last year, it got renewed. Same thing. It does zero hand holding, zero over explaining. You really need to focus on the show, otherwise you get lost immediately.
Yeah, I think out of all of us that watched that show, all four of us, I think you're the only one that liked it, right?
I loved it. I thought it was great. But in even like a show like Eternaught, like that's on Netflix. It's in Spanish. So it's not they don't dumb everything down or they don't have like a magic model for everything. But if you come with them and you're like, hey, I want to write a show about a princess who moves to New York and falls in love, then they're like, great, we have a perfect model for you that we know it's gonna work. And here it is.
Yeah, I get it.
You know?
I don't think those types of shows though are gonna be front and center on Netflix though. I don't think it's gonna be something that is like featured. Like I said, Adolescence from the moment it came out,
No, they are.
it wasn't something that was like bam in your face, like you gotta watch this. It was something you gotta like, I'm gonna go to Netflix to watch Adolescence. I'm gonna go to Netflix to watch the Ethernaut. It's not like, yo, the rip is out, everybody. Let's show a commercial during like the football game. Watch this movie.
No,
It's
they did promote the Rip a little bit, I think. But most of their movies, they don't promote that much. I think they leave it up to the individuals. Um, but again, most of their movies are really bad. Most of their movies are really bad. And so I don't know. I don't know what the right balance is. But if you're on a project with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, who are two veteran screenwriters and movie producers and movie stars, they have a point of view on what's going to work. And sure, they can have a conversation with the executives there about like what that balance might be. But I don't think an executive is just going to tell him, be like, you need another action scene, before the 25-minute mark. Like, I don't think if you're green, if you're a little bit more green, less experienced, and you're going to get more hand holding, just like anywhere else, I think.
Yeah, I don't.
But
To wrap up my thoughts, I don't think this was Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's best work together.
nah, I think it was
I
like,
think
yo, you want to make a movie and hang out?
I
Where
think it
we're
was
fucking badass
yeah, I
cops
think it was we got to do one for Netflix. Everyone else has done one because I think this was their first like team up for Netflix, right?
for
I'm
Netflix.
sure
Yeah.
they've done individual, at least Ben Affleck. I'm sure individually they've done Netflix movies, but I think this was their first like
I'm not sure.
team up
I
for.
don't know if they've done a Netflix movie. They did Air for Prime. Were they both on Air? Yeah, the Michael
Yeah, they
Jordan.
did a Prime movie. They did a Prime series. That was a series.
That was a movie. Nah, they The Last Duel. No, that was Ridley Scott. Was that? I don't know. I think this is their first project for
Yeah, they probably
Netflix.
said like, "Hey man, let's get this paycheck together real quick and put something on
And do
Netflix."
something cool. Like, why wouldn't you want to write a cop movie where you get to be badasses with your homies? Like, who doesn't want that? That's
Were they
basically.
writers on this? I don't think were they.
They were both. No, they weren't, but they were producers on it. The
Joe
director was
Carnahan
this
and
guy.
Michael McGrail. So the writer was also the
Yeah, and
director, and this is why he chose to make this movie because he was actually friends with the real life Miami cop that the story's based on.
oh shit,
Yeah, so he felt a need to
his movies are
make
kind of
this
whack
into.
though. Yeah, I looked at his filmography. It's
I
not
never
really
heard of it.
nothing I really like.
Yeah, producers Ben Affleck, Matt
Do you
Damon,
want to
PGA.
quickly talk about? You want to quickly talk about the Night of the Seven Kingdoms?
I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you talk about that one because I started watching it. I could not get into it. I would have never known it was a comedy if it wasn't for you telling me beforehand that it was, and for the fact that this guy kept bumping into stuff and hitting his head. Where I would have
Well,
been like, "Oh, there's something different about this. They're trying to be different," but it just was not funny to me. I know British humor is like an acquired taste, and I'm into it most of the time.
I don't
But
think this is supposed to be a
this,
comedy though.
I don't think this was going for that. And yeah, man, the first like 30 minutes just bored me to death. So I'm like, no, that's enough
Okay.
time for me to give something a shot.
What did you think of right at the top? He buries so Sir Duncan buries
Yeah,
his knight, which is his dad, I think, right? Is that his dad? Or no?
I guess he was like the apprentice of this guy that
He
knighted
was a
him
squire.
and gave him his sword.
So there's this hero shot, and like the camera kind of like pushes in on his face, and the Game of Thrones theme starts up, and then it's a hard cut, and it's this guy taking a shit, and like that's the tone. That's not the tone. The tone is not like gross high school humor. That's not the tone. But that's the hard pivot that they wanted to just let you know, hey, this is not a hard
This is a
drama.
little bit of a spoof almost. It's kind of like like they're spoofing like the genre and
So
this like world.
the tone is silly. They're trying to be fun. They're trying to be playful. It's night and day from Game of Thrones. It's not a show about lords or dragons or kings and spies and all of this political drama. It's about like barmaids and squires and where you're gonna feed and put your horse at night, right?
It's like the rejects of the Game of Thrones universe. The people in the background.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the people in the background. So the story is about this Sir Dunk the tall, because he's freaking tall as hell, and his little homie Egg, who's like he becomes his squire in the first episode, and it's really just about a guy who's like born with nothing, and he's trying to enter a tournament to make some money, get better armor, and get better weapons, and I think that's kind of it. There's no magic quest or like he's not the son of a prince or fairy godmother or anything like that. It's 6 episodes, so super short and sweet. Although they did renew for a second season, and it's based on a little novella that apparently is like R. R. Martin's some of his best work. So you didn't like the tone just threw you off. You didn't. There are some scenes where like he's hitting his head
I'm not
against the
mad
wall.
at the tone. I'm not mad at what they're trying to do to it. I just didn't find it. I just found it boring. I found myself asking like, why do I care to watch this? Why do I care about this character who's not?
See, you need Netflix to come in and start this off with an explosion.
Nah,
To
man. They had
get-
some reviews. They had Baratheon in like the first 30 minutes. I'm like, oh, that's cool. They're King Baratheon. They were like throwing some. They were
Well,
bringing some characters at a different time and place than when we know them from the original story. I'm like,
you
okay,
talking
that's
about
cool.
like
They're tying stuff in.
the Lord in the hut?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's like Baratheon family. I don't know. Like, so this takes place like 80 years before or 100 years before Game of Thrones, and like 80 years after the dragon one. So it's somewhere in the middle. I don't know what's happening, like broadly speaking, with this whole kingdom during that time, but it seems like it's peaceful times. Nobody's talking about dragons or wars or anything. Everybody's just having a good time in this first episode. Even the whores are happy. They're just hanging out, carefree. And then he gets invited to this party at the Lord's tent. I think he's a lord. I don't know what you call these people. He's basically like the HNIC of this little town. He's wearing the crowns. And yeah, it's a little goofy. It's a little silly. They have like, they get drunk, they dance. The stakes are very low. Like, I think people are not used to that. There's no frost people coming.
yeah, it's low stakes, which is like, okay, if you want to go for that.
I think it's like no stakes, to
But
be
it's
honest.
so low stakes that like you just said, to me it's no stakes. So I'm like, why do I need to stick around? There's no stakes in this. And I'm
Yeah,
not like a super fan of the universe or
right. Yeah. I thought the acting was good and I like the main character. The main character obviously, but who's his man, I had that page open and I
they need
closed
to
it.
move this to Thursday nights and make it exactly 30 minutes because this first episode was like 56 minutes or something.
Yeah, they are gonna make it. I think these are 30 minutes going
Yeah,
forward,
it
roughly.
shouldn't be more than that, and it shouldn't be Sunday at fucking prime time.
Dude, they got nothing else. I know you're not watching industry.
I'm not, I'm not, but I would assume I'd like that better. But what's on Thursday nights that should be on Sunday nights? We were just talking about
Pitt.
this. Yeah, that should be on Sunday nights, not
But
this.
reviews for this, let me check Rotten Tomatoes on what's up with this. But I think the reviews are pretty good. And you know me, like a couple weeks ago when we talked about it, my expectations were very, very low. Very
Tale
low.
of what's it called?
Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Yeah, it has an 88 and then 78 viewers or audience. So it's fine. It's not. What's the actor's name? Peter Claffey. Yeah, I think Peter Claffey's really good, man. He's likable and he plays like this big regular dude who's a little awkward and like in his own head, you know. I'm not mad at it. Un-
I'm gonna go ahead and predict that viewership's gonna fall off heavy on this.
you think
I mean,
so?
it's only 6 episodes, but
That's what I'm saying.
I think the premiere always does better than expected.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what it does. I don't know what the viewership numbers have been for this. I imagine they're good because it's a Game of Thrones property, but yeah, we'll see. I like it so far, and I do recommend people watch it just because it's so different than the rest of the Game of Thrones world that we're used to sitting through. Especially like the dragons one. Like that show is boring, dude. That show is all people in rooms talking. So this one's a little bit better, I think. What are you reading over there? You got the face like get this shit out of here.
I'm reading the Rotten Tomatoes thing, but there's not much info on the Rotten Tomatoes page. Because, like I said, I think a lot of people probably watched the premiere, like you, liked it, gave it a decent rating, and we'll see where it goes from there. Like, is this enough to bring people back 5 more times?
Yeah, we'll see. I got some interesting news. I think a show I talked about last year, Mobland on Paramount Plus, got renewed with damn man, I'm so bad with I gotta start writing everything down because
Yeah, that was a show I was meaning to watch and never got around to.
you might like that. It's a British crime drama. It comes from Guy Ritchie. I don't know how much he's involved, but Tom Hardy's in it.
Yeah,
He's basically like
Helen
a fix.
Mirren, Pierce Brosnan,
Yeah.
huge cast.
Yeah. So he plays a fixer for this crime family that's beefing with another family, so he's kind of caught in the middle. But it's good. I'm almost done with season 1. I'm definitely going to finish it now that season 2 is announced. And
Yeah,
then
no,
the
that show looked legit. I think what happened with me was I probably like lost access to Paramount Plus around the time I was going to start watching. Around the time it came out.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's behind Paramount Plus. Not a lot of viewership there, but it was their biggest show I think last year, or the biggest premiere. But all right, are you watching anything else next week? Were you able to get into the pit, see episode 2 or not?
Yeah, I watched episode two. I
Good.
watched episode two. I'm gonna keep watching it, and then I'm just gonna keep an eye out on that massive Netflix release document.
Oh my god, yeah.
That thing, like you got to do research to go through that thing and see what else, because it seems like they got some interesting things coming out along with all the other stuff we previewed on our first episode of the year.
Yeah, we'll keep looking out to see what else is coming up next week.
But I'm
Unsure.
interested in. I don't think I've seen a live Netflix event yet. I know they've done a few that are big, like the boxing stuff and stuff like that. And they had like a late night talk show that was live. But this skyscraper live thing happening on Friday, I think I'm just gonna. I think I'm gonna tune into that just for the FOMO and just to take part in this live event, because it's a guy from the story we all know. A lot of people, so many people saw the Solo documentary.
That's
Um,
right.
the guys, I feel like I don't want to miss out on this
So basically, the guy from Free Solo, he's gonna climb a skyscraper in
skyscraper.
Taipei,
Yes, I think it's their biggest one.
and this is
It's
live.
gonna air live on Netflix, which is totally unexpected. It's totally something random that just came out of nowhere. I think it might be a good random watch. So
Yeah, live January 23rd, 8 o'clock. So he could fall off technically.
could fall off. It could be start snowing. Could start raining. Like
Ah,
it could
they know what the weather's gonna be. It ain't gonna start snowing.
anything could happen, man.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe we will tune into that. So that's this Friday, and then we can certainly talk about it. SNL just did a spoof on that, which is
Yeah,
pretty
and I
funny.
said if SNL is spoofing it, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, so we'll check that out.
And we got the tomorrow the release of WWE Unreal season 2. I know we all watched season 1 and talked about it in one of our episodes, and that was a cool show because it was a lot of behind the scenes, what was going on when the WWE sold to like Endeavor Sports, teamed up with UFC, same ownership. John Cena's like right his
are,
last run in his career, the
is it?
behind the scenes and all the well, they covered that in season 1, and
I
like
didn't
all the
I didn't see season 1. I think that was you and Scott. But is this a show that they will drop all at once, or do they
yeah, no, I
drop it
don't.
as they film it?
Nah, they'll drop it all at once,
Okay.
and it'll just be a couple episodes of stuff that is currently happening, and the behind the scenes narrative as to like the decision making. Get to see the writers who don't you never get to see. Um,
Damn.
you get to see these wrestlers in their everyday life.
It's so
So,
funny that like
but season 1 did really good, man. Like there was a lot of talk and buzz about it online when it came out. So I'm interested what they're gonna do with season 2 and how they're even gonna top it.
it's funny how this show wrestling was so protective of its authenticity when it wasn't,
And
you
now
know.
they're all giving it away.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy. It's
it's a
crazy
big
that
complaint that a lot of wrestling fans have is how it's called kayfabe.
right.
Kayfabe is like their characters and their world and what's happening, and this is real. It's just playing out in
This
front of the
is real.
cameras. How they've just broken the like what do they call that? The fourth wall.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot of complaints from the purists about things going down and how WWE is ruining things
But
by
it's
doing this
it's
stuff.
too late to walk it back. I think
It's
it's
too
more
late, yeah.
popular
No,
than it's ever been, I
they
think,
had
isn't it?
Bad Bunny like in a wrestling match. It's too late.
All right, we'll leave it there. Stick with us next week. We'll talk about the skyscraper live. Let's see if this guy, what's this guy's name? His name is not even Alex Honnold. So he's going to climb a building in Taipei, one of the tallest buildings in the world. We'll cover that.
Might be
Um,
huge. It might be a big letdown.
might be a big flop.
You might have to tune in to find out what
Hopefully,
happens.
not a big flop for the guy. All right, but we'll see you next week. Peace.
Leave it there. Bye.